Alright, what's going on, you guys? Welcome to Madrid Hub. Again, I'm your host, Dr. JOTA. Today, Friday, only 2 days ahead of the first game after the international break, after this last international break against Granada. Very important game. As you know, we are competing against, apparently only against Real Sociedad and Atletico de Madrid. So it is very crucial and necessary for us to win this game as well. Of course, to keep up with these teams, because to me, once we can rule out to FC Barcelona, my opinion is only Real Sociedad and Atletico de Madrid will be up there, and they will be probably our biggest contenders for the fight, or in the fight for La Liga this year. So very important game against Granada. And although I don't have any super relevant updates or stuff, I wanted to speak in this video 3 specific names, but it's just about possible signings for Real Madrid for different reasons. I will be talking about Paul Pogba, I will be talking about Rüdiger, and I will be talking about as well Kylian Mbappe, and another aspect not many people have thought about, which is, can Kylian Mbappe play alongside Vinicius Jr. without creating a conflict or problem or something like that? Are these guys compatible to play together in Real Madrid? I will be speaking about that later on. Okay, so let's get started with Paul Pogba, because yesterday, Thursday, there was an article coming out from OK Diario that was written by Miguel Serrano. He's another very famous journalist in Spain, who claimed in Real Madrid nobody wants to sign Paul Pogba just for this single reason, and that is Paul Pogba is a very controversial guy within the locker room. He has had a lot of problems with teammates, coaches and stuff, and that aspect is something that Real Madrid doesn't like at all, and that would be the only reason why Real Madrid is ruling out the possibility to sign into Paul Pogba next year. Okay, let me tell you what. This article came out from OK Diario, Miguel Serrano. On the other hand, and almost at the same time, in ABC News in Spain, they are claiming Paul Pogba is going to be one of the easiest transfers, easiest signings for Real Madrid next year, if we want to go ahead and sign him, just because the other day Mino Raiola ruled out the possibility for the player to come back to Juventus. And of course, the other good news, it is the player would be for free. We don't have to pay any kind of transfer fee or similar. Maybe we pay a transfer fee to the player, but not to the club. You know what I'm saying? So we have money enough, plenty of money to sign this player, and of course set up a very good salary for the player, and even to pay a very good commission to Mino Raiola. So that's why in ABC News are claiming Real Madrid is probably the front runners to sign Paul Pogba. Okay, so let me tell you what. My opinion on this controversial aspect regarding to Paul Pogba, whether the guy is a very, problematic guy, or is a person who create a lot of problems in the locker room or stuff like that. Let me tell you what, I didn't hear something like that in a while. Apparently he had some stories, some beef with some teammates in Juventus de Turin, but what he's going through right now in Manchester United is a totally different thing. There is no one single player. It is not only Paul Pogba, the only soccer player in this world who has problems with his coach. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that they are referring to the problems he's having right now with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and all the historic players from Manchester United blasting him every single weekend and stuff. So aside of that, man, what kind of conflict or what kind of problem creates Paul Pogba, or can you blame to Paul Pogba for in Manchester United? None of them. Right now, the locker room of Manchester United, it is a very problematic in itself, because the 50% of the players doesn't believe or don't believe in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer anymore, So that is the big thing right now in Manchester United, but it's not because Paul Pogba. The only trouble he had in Manchester United before Ole Gunnar Solskjaer took over, it was with Jose Mourinho, because he was late one day or something like that, but it was again with the coach. To me, this guy is not the kind of problematic profile that people want to see in him, and is just another regular guy, maybe strong character or behavior, but very top professional, very good player, and of course world champion. I mean, we don't have to forget all the things he has gotten over the last 4 years. He's a very good player, and it is true though, in Real Madrid, the only person who wanted to, who was all the time validating the signing of Paul Pogba was Zinedine Zidane. That is very true. But now that Zinedine Zidane is gone, nobody else trusts in Paul Pogba as a signing for Real Madrid. However, I still think it's a very good signing for Real Madrid because we don't have to pay a lot of money for him. And of course, he has a lot of expertise and experience that he can provide to Real Madrid in the midfield. And man, you have nothing to lose. So that is my point. I mean, I'm okay if some people within Real Madrid thinks he's a kind of problematic guy or something like that. Maybe, but he's 28 years old, and of course this is going to be the last contract in his career, the big contract that he wants to sign. And in my opinion, there's no point in letting him go and, you know, miss this very good opportunity. So let's see what happens, because this is, I mean, something Carlo Ancelotti has to think about that, and of course with Florentino Perez, and take a decision. But to me, again, it is not a bad decision, and that would be actually a very good signing for Real Madrid. But let's see what happens. And now let's move on and let's talk about Antonio Rüdiger, because today another article that came out in Diario Marca from José Félix Díaz claims that Real Madrid is intensifying the contacts with the agent of the player just because we want to sign him and right quick for the next month of January. I mean, actually, he would become another David Alaba signing. I mean, same thing. He signs for Real Madrid in January and then he travels to Madrid in June. The only difference is that Bayern Munich already knew up front David Alaba was not going to renew the contract with Bayern Munich, and Chelsea is trying over and over again to reach an agreement with him, and they will keep trying it, but to me it's a little bit difficult. And right now I'd say Rüdiger is closer than ever to leave Chelsea for Real Madrid. But one caveat for José Félix Díaz is Bayern Munich is also very interested in Antonio Rüdiger. So the only problem on the way, the only rock on the way, the only thing Real Madrid can come across, it is pretty much the competition from Bayern Munich, right? So right now, apparently Real Madrid are the front runners to sign Rüdiger, but Bayern Munich is still there, right? So we don't have to be overconfident, because as long as Bayern Munich has money and a good deal for the player, he might sign for the German team for the next year. So let's see what happens. I mean, in Real Madrid right now, I think that we really need a fourth center back to bolster a little bit more the defense in Real Madrid. But to me, it is Rüdiger could be a very good player, but there are also other players that might fit perfectly that position. So let's see what happens. It's still like Paul Pogba, 28 years old, so he's a guy that can provide with a bunch of stuff to Real Madrid. So let's see what happens. Of course, it's not going to be easy. Nothing is easy here, but to me, there are chances for Real Madrid to sign Rüdiger. And then let's move on and let's talk about a couple of things regarding to Kylian Mbappe. The first one, it is because in Sport is a Catalonian sports newspaper. I mean, it's a very pro FC Barcelona. They are saying right now, they are messing around with the signing of Kylian Mbappe for Real Madrid all the time. But the funny thing here is what they said today, this time, it is pretty much Vinicius Jr. and Kylian Mbappe are not it's not doable. I mean, the couple playing together is not doable in Real Madrid, and of course it is something that will create problems in the future, just because Mbappe normally plays from the left wing side of the field, and that is the spot for Vinicius Jr. Let me tell you what, no worries at all, because if there is a striker, if there is an attacker, a forward in this world who can play everywhere in the attack, is Kylian Mbappe. The player has been playing in different positions, has been starting a lot of games from different perspectives and positions and stuff. He can exchange positions with other players, so he's super flexible guy, and of course he can provide with a bunch of stuff to the attack of Real Madrid. And to top this off, let me tell you what, if he's still playing with Karim Benzema, the connection between both of them is so perfect that they will reflect that kind of connection in Real Madrid as well, not only in the national team of France, which is good for Los Madridistas because they can prove for everyone that they are ready to play together in Real Madrid. And of course, if they are swapping or exchanging positions between the right and the center of the attack of Real Madrid and led to Vinicius Jr. in the same place in the left wing, that is going to be great, and I don't think that it's going to be a big deal for them because they will know what to do at every single moment. You know what I'm saying? At some point, they will figure how to play better, the three of them, right? So there's not going to be any problem or trouble or beef or something like that. It is just, it's these guys from the newspapers, they just want to mess around with the players and Mbappe and Real Madrid and all the stuff. But I don't think at all there will be any kind of problem for these three players play together. And let me remind you something else, because in the French newspapers, they are assuming Kylian Mbappe will leave Paris Saint-Germain this season, probably in January, just because what he said right after the game against Kazakhstan, when he said that a lot of great stuff, a lot of great things, great projects have to come in the next several months. So I have talked about that already, so I'm not going to keep talking about that. And this kind of statement is the statement the French newspaper right now are assuming as a kind of farewell speech, you know, like, okay, this guy is done in Paris Saint-Germain and we have nothing to do to retain him, so we have to start to assume Kylian Mbappe will leave Paris Saint-Germain to play in Real Madrid. So that is very good news for Los Madridistas, because now we are realizing that even the French newspapers are assuming the departure of Kylian Mbappe to Real Madrid. So very good news for us all. And of course, let me know your thoughts about that. Just comment